Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, where we take on legendary tales of gods, monsters, and epic battles. I'm Jason, and today I'm diving into the mythic world of Clash of the Titans. Directed by Luis Leterrier, Clash of the Titans is a thrilling reimagining of the classic myth, filled with larger-than-life action and jaw-dropping visuals, with standout performances from Sam Worthington, Liam Neeson, and Ralph Fiennes. This film brings ancient mythology to roaring life on the big screen. Now, fair warning, I might mess up some of these mythological names or even the actors' names along the way, so let me apologize in advance. Let's dive into this epic tale of gods and mortals and see how Clash of the Titans stacks up to the legends. Clash of the Titans opened in theaters on April 2nd, 2010, with a budget of $125 million. Throughout its 16-week theatrical run, it earned $163.2 million domestically and $330 million internationally, making a worldwide total of $493.2 million. In its opening weekend, which happened to be Easter weekend, it earned $67.6 million in its three-day weekend, finishing number one in the box office ahead of Alice in Wonderland, The Last Song, Why Did I Get Married 2, and How to Train Your Dragon, numbers 5 through 2 respectively, with The Last Song and How Did I Get Married 2 opening the same weekend. Its final week in theaters saw it earn $57,766, finishing its box office run at number 46. During the gods' battle against the Titans, Hades created the Kraken, a fearsome monster that helped win the gods' victory. Zeus and his brothers then divided the world amongst themselves. Zeus took the skies, Poseidon the seas, and Hades, deceived by Zeus, was left to rule the underworld. Zeus later created the mortal humans, whose worship maintained the gods' immortality. Over time, however, some mortals began to defy their creators. When the human king Acrisius led a siege at Mount Olympus, Zeus sleeps with his wife Danae, conceiving a demigod son, Perseus. Upon discovering this, an enraged Acrisius locks the queen and her newborn child in a chest and throws them into the sea. Zeus retaliates by striking the king with a lightning bolt, which severely deforms him. Perseus and the now dead Danae are found by the fisherman Spiros, who raises the baby with his wife Marmara. 18 years later, Perseus and his family watches soldiers from the city of Argus destroy the statue of Zeus, declaring war on the gods. The soldiers are slaughtered by the Furies, who are controlled by Hades. Hades then destroys the family's fishing vessel. Spiros and his family drown, with Perseus as the only survivor. Found by another group of soldiers, Perseus is brought before King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia, who are celebrating their campaign against the gods. While their daughter, Princess Andromeda, disapproves of her parents' rebellion, Cassiopeia furthers her boasts. The revelry is suddenly interrupted by Hades. He kills Cassiopeia by rapidly aging her, threatens to unleash the Kraken upon Argos in 10 days unless Andromeda is offered to it as a sacrifice, and reveals Perseus's godly heritage. Perseus meets Io, a mysterious woman cursed with immortality who confirms his origin. Perseus, Io, and the King's Guard, led by Draco, journey to the Stygian witches, seeking a way to defeat the Kraken. To help his son, Zeus tries to give Perseus a sword forged on Olympus, which he refuses. Soon after, they are attacked by the corrupted Acrisius, now known as Calibos, who is working for Hades. During the fight, Draco severs Calibos' hand, forcing him to retreat to a desert where the blood from his injury conjures giant scorpions which attack the group. They are rescued by a band of Jinn, desert sorcerers, who tame the remaining scorpions and lend their aid to Perseus and his group. They arrive at the lair of the Stygian witches, who are forced to reveal a weapon to defeat the Kraken, the head of the Gorgon Medusa, who resides in the underworld. Upon arrival, Perseus and his remaining companions enter Medusa's temple lair, while Io remains outside. Medusa kills everyone except Perseus, who finally manages to behead her by using the reflective underside of his shield to see her with his back turned. Upon leaving Medusa's lair, Calibos appears and fatally stabs Io. As Perseus and Calibos fight, Perseus picks up the Olympian sword and kills his opponent. Calibos' human form is briefly restored, and he begs Perseus not to become like the gods before he dies. As Io lies dying, she urges Perseus to save Andromeda and Argos. The winged horse Pegasus arrives and takes Perseus back to Argos, while Hades, having manipulated Zeus and the gods into earning their trust, releases the Kraken. Procopion, a fanatical worshipper of Hades, and his followers take Andromeda to be sacrificed. Perseus arrives in time and exposes Medusa's head to the Kraken, which gradually petrifies and crumbles. Procopion attempts to kill Perseus, but Cepheus intervenes, and both of them are then crushed by the Kraken's falling claw. Hades confronts Perseus, but the latter, invoking Zeus, hurls his sword at Hades, forcing him back to the underworld. Perseus rescues Andromeda, who then asks him to rule Argos by her side as king, but he declines. Later, Zeus appears before Perseus and offers to bring him to Olympus, which he also refuses. Zeus, while disgruntled, accepts Perseus' choice and revives Io, allowing them to be together. Now let's look at the cast and some of their other roles. Sam Worthington as Perseus. Other roles for Sam Worthington include Finn in The Killer, Huxley in Lift, and Jack in 9 Bullets. Otto Farrant as young Perseus. Other roles for Otto Farrant include Alex Rider in the TV show Alex Rider, Charlie in Edge of the World, and Joshua Maxwell in Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. Liam Neeson as Zeus. Other roles for Liam Neeson include Otway in The Grey, Matt Turner in Retribution, and Jim in The Marksman. Ralph Fiennes as Hades. Other roles for Ralph Fiennes include M. Gustav in The Grand Budapest Hotel, Macbeth in 2024's Macbeth, and M in No Time to Die. Luke Evans as Apollo. Other roles for Luke Evans includes Vlad in Dracula Untold, Gaston in 2017's Beauty and the Beast, and Ben in Ma. Gemma Arterton as Io. Other roles for Gemma Arterton include Nina Land in The Critic, Peaches in The Amazing Maurice, and Polly in The King's Man. Alexa Davalos as Andromeda. Other roles for Alexa Davalos include Sally in The Mist, Kristen Gaines in the TV show FBI Most Wanted, and Chloe in Feast of Love. Jason Fleming as Calibos. Other roles for Jason Fleming include Elijah Clark in 355, Jonathan Green in Iron Mask, and Azazel in X-Men First Class. Mads Mikkelsen as Draco. Other roles for Mads Mikkelsen include Dr. Hannibal Lecter in the TV show Hannibal, Martin in Another Round, and Clifford Unger in the Death Stranding video game. Natalia Vodinova as Medusa. This has been Natalia Vodinova's only role so far. Liam Cunningham as Solon. Other roles for Liam Cunningham include Davos Seaworth in the TV show Game of Thrones, Captain Elliot in The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and Alex Wade in Safe House. Hans Matheson as EX. Other roles for Hans Matheson include Lord Coward in 2009's Sherlock Holmes, Johnny Blackwood in the TV show Jericho, and David Richmond in The Christmas Candle. Nicholas Hoult as Eusebius. Other roles for Nicholas Hoult include Justin Kemp in Juror Number 2, Renfield in Renfield, and J.R.R. Tolkien in Tolkien. Ashraf Barholm as Ozal. Other roles for Ashraf Barholm include General Bandari in 300 Rise of an Empire, Jamal Al-Fayed in the TV show Tyrant, and Sam in Exodus. Mulloud Achar as Kukuk. This has been Mulloud Achar's only American role so far. Ian White as Sheikh Suleiman. Other roles for Ian White include the Mound Dweller in The Northman, Lucifer in The Reckoning, and Scar in Alien vs. Predator. Luke Treadway as Procopian. Other roles for Luke Treadway include Brewis in Attack the Block, Lucky in Get Lucky, and Vincent Rattray in the TV show Fortitude. Ross Mullen as a Stygian witch. Other roles for Ross Mullen include Dr. Pierce in Zoohead, JJ's father in Bashment, and a hitman in The Milky Way. Robin Berry as another Stygian witch. Other roles for Robin Berry include a palace guard in Wicked, a crawler in The Descent Part 2, and John in Patient 7. Graham Hughes as the third Stygian witch. Other roles for Graham Hughes include the Dwarf King in Your Highness, Silas in the TV show Willow, Buster Evergreen in Get Santa. Pete Postlewaite as Spiros. Before his passing in January of 2011, other roles for Pete Postlewaite include Maurice Fisher in Inception, William Crownthorne in Solomon Kane, and Roland Timbo in The Lost World Jurassic Park. Elizabeth McGovern as Namara. Other roles for Elizabeth McGovern include Cora Crawley in the TV show Downton Abbey, Helen Brown in the TV show War of the Worlds, and Norma in The Chaperone. And Vincent Regan as King Cephas. Other roles for Vincent Regan include Duke Hammond in Snow White and the Huntsman, Garp in the live-action TV show One Piece, and Alex in Lockout. Polly Walker as King Cassiopeia. Other roles for Polly Walker include Annette in Patriot Games, Peggy Sykes in the TV show Pennyworth, and Belle in the TV show Age Before Beauty. Rory McCann as Bello. Other roles for Rory McCann include the Hound in the TV show Game of Thrones, Jurgen the Brutal in Jumanji The Next Level, and Megatron in the TV show Transformers Earthspark. Martin McCann as Phaedrus. Other roles for Martin McCann include The Survivalist and The Survivalist, Stevie Neal in the TV show Blue Lights, and Baines in Last Sentinel. K.S. Scodelario as Pichette. Other roles for K.S. Scodelario include Karina Smith in Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, Teresa in The Maze Runner, and Haley in Crawl. Tyne Staplefelt as Danae. The only other role Tyne Staplefelt has had is the cosmetic company Beauty and Eat Locals. Isabella Miko as Athena. Other roles for Isabella Miko include Cammy in Coyote Ugly, Cassie in The Rake, and Katya in the TV show Chicago Fire. Sinead Michael as Tekla. Other roles for Sinead Michael include Jess in Montana, Sky in the TV show The Sarah Jane Adventures, and Emily in the TV show The Children. Alexander Siddig as Hermes. Other roles for Alexander Siddig include Cardinal Russo in Deliver Us, Addie in 21 Bridges, and Ra's al Ghul in the TV show Gotham. Tamer Hassan as Ares. Other roles for Tamer Hassan include Hayden in the TV show Snatch, Sergey in Bitter Harvest, and Matthew in Kick-Ass. Danny Huston as Poseidon. Other roles for Danny Huston include Vincent Rogue in 2024's The Crow, Floyd Hansen in Marlowe, and Jamie Laird in the TV show Succession. William Houston as Amon. Other roles for William Houston include Joseph Crackstone in the TV show Wednesday, Kemp in the TV show Will, and Eli in Brimstone. Phil McKee as the Harbor Master. Other roles for Phil McKee include Kenny Holland in the TV show Professor T, Higgins in Mission of Honor, and Hannigan in the TV show Jekyll and Hyde. David Kennedy as Cepheus' general. Other roles for David Kennedy include the foreman in The Bricklayer, Dirk Savage in the TV show Hollyoaks, and Bert Dove in the TV show Sexy Beast. Nina Young as Hera. Other roles for Nina Young include Sandra Davies in Payback Season, the Grey Lady in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and Fiona in the TV show Mystery Road Origin. Jane March as Hestia. Other roles for Jane March include Serena in Jack the Giant Killer, Linda in Stalker, and Olive in My Last Five Girlfriends. Natalie Cox as Artemis. Other roles for Natalie Cox include Laura in My Dad's Christmas Date, Nicole in Gut Down, and Tracy in Scar Tissue. Agnes Dane as Aphrodite. Other roles for Agnes Dane include Chris Guthrie in Sunset Song, Dr. Freya Upton in The Titan, and Janet in Patient Zero. Paul Kinman as Hephaestus. Other roles for Paul Kinman include Lunky in Asteroid City, Ian in The Darkest Light, and Mark in First Night. Charlotte Comer as Demeter. Other roles for Charlotte Comer include Gabby in Sulphur and White, art expert Katie Tran in Late Shift, and Rebecca in the TV show The Dark Knight. I do like the opening monologue as it sets the stage for what we should know before actually getting into the movie about Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, and what they rule, and that Zeus tricked Hades into ruling the underworld. That first scene we get with child Perseus and his found family was such a sweet one because he feels like when they have a child of their own, he's going to be left out, and his father tells him that they have a bond that's more than flesh and bone. Otto Ferrant looks identical to a young Sam Worthington, so I think that was genius casting. I really enjoyed the casting of Liam Neeson as Zeus and Ralph Fiennes as Hades. It seems King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia are all about outwardly appearances, at least from that first scene we meet them, whereas Andromeda seems kind-hearted. I love the score when Hades makes his entrance during Queen Cassiopeia's speech. I also do like the special effect of how Hades killed Queen Cassiopeia. The realization that Perseus is a demigod was portrayed great by Sam Worthington, just by his facial expressions and just his body language. Hades conspiring to kill Zeus with the help of Calibos, coupled with the amazing score, was such a well-written scene. I feel like this movie is filled with amazing scores, like the one where Perseus is being trained to use the sword. The fight with the scorpions was really well choreographed, and the CGI is fairly good, even if the scorpions don't always look fantastic. The makeup on Sam Worthington's arm to signify Hades' venom is astounding, even though it is gross to look at the same time. I really like the design of the Stygian witches, and that entire scene was creepy, but it fits, mostly due to the score. I really enjoy the chemistry between Sam Worthington and Liam Neeson during their first meeting. It's it's electric, and it made me feel excited for more scenes between them. The CGI on the skipping coin while waiting for Karn was kind of wonky when it slowed down, but other than that, I really like how good the CGI looks. Io trying to help Perseus on how to fight Medusa was a really nice scene. Again, Gemma Arterton and Sam Worthington have some really great chemistry together. I do love our introduction to Medusa, how quick she is, and how we don't really get a good look at her for a pretty good while. I really enjoyed the fight scene with Medusa, even if all but one person was killed. Again, the choreographer knew what they were doing with the fight between Perseus and Calibos. It's yet another great fight scene. Io telling Perseus he's the best of both God and man is exactly what he needed to hear to continue the journey to kill the Kraken, I think, anyway. The CGI on the Kraken was pretty good, and the effect of it turning to stone was very well done, I thought. Zeus bringing back Io for Perseus was a nice way to end the movie. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie a lot. Some great performances from everyone involved, and except for the the one instance with the coin I mentioned earlier, I feel like the CGI holds up. Now some fun facts and trivia. Emma Thompson, almost made an accidental uncredited cameo in this movie while visiting friend Liam Neeson on set. Thompson, who had been filming Nanny McPhee Returns in an adjacent studio, went to visit Neeson during a break just as Neeson was about to shoot a scene with Ralph Fiennes and Danny Huston. Unable to exit the scene fast enough as the cameras began to roll, Thomas, in her clumsy Nanny McPhee costume, had to hide behind Huston's throne during the take so she would not be picked up by the cameras. Sam Worthington's sandals are Nike trainers with toes painted on them. He didn't wear sandals because he needed shoes to perform the stunts well. The language of the jinn is actually Arabic. The mechanic Al Bubo from Clash of the Titans 1981 has a cameo in as the toy Perseus picks up before he leaves on his quest. According to the filmmakers, the cameo was widely debated as whether to keep it in the film or not. It was eventually decided to keep it in the film to please fans of the original film. Concept designer Aaron Sims considers designing Medusa his most difficult task. Are they all the same snake in her hair? Do they look more like hair? Are they different in silhouette or in light? And how much of a human face does she have, or is it more like a snake? I worked on one design, and people said it reminded them of Lord Voldemort because of how there was no nose. You have to be careful so it still looks like an original idea. Temperatures in the Ethiopian location would frequently top 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 48.9 degrees Celsius. There are 55 snakes in Medusa's hair. Sam Worthington stated in an interview that Perseus was meant to start the film out with long hair, but would cut it short before going off on the journey. This idea was scrapped because they felt the scene didn't work, and Perseus was given short hair throughout the film. 3D conversion cost $10 million. According to Louis Leterrier, the movie was meant to end with Perseus and Andromeda ended up together, as in all previous tellings of the Perseus story, with Perseus and Eos' relationship purely being platonic. However, the studio disliked this idea, and the movie was reshot to have Perseus and Io end up together. And that's it for my review of Clash of the Titans. This movie delivers epic battles, mythical creatures, and a visual spectacle that brings ancient legends to life. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more takes on legendary films. And here's some exciting news. I'll also be reviewing the sequel, Wrath of the Titans, so stay tuned for that one coming soon. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Clash of the Titans. What was your favorite moment, and how do you think it compares to the original myth? Thanks for watching, and until next time, may the gods be with you.